How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today I'm going to go and do one of these gateway missions. So I've picked this one, which is at the northeast corner one. It's called Access to Civilization. I need to take 4 lots of metal beams and 2 concrete slabs, which I can get some of the metal beams from this garage. I'll show you that in a sec. Yeah, going to go with the Zikz and the Lo4f for this one, because I've got quite a bit of driving to do. I've got a roof rack and then I've got the Lo4f and everything, so fuel-wise I'm looking pretty good. So yeah, I've got to drive to the gateway to the yellow brick road map, and then I'm going to basically cut right across to this top corner. Yeah, the northeast gateway. I've kind of cut across this way. You'd near enough drive straight past the watchtower, and then I've also got to go down to this warehouse because it's got the 2 concrete slabs. There is a warehouse up here that you need to take a generator trailer there, and then you must need to take some kind of supplies and swap it for concrete slabs, so I can't be bothered doing that. I just wanted to mention that quickly though, like I think it's once you build the garage, like in Lowlands, there is like a little warehouse here that has 4 metal beams, which for the most part I just kind of skipped and ignored, but it's one of them things where it's probably worth knowing, because I went through the missions and the only other mission that needs metal beams after this is like the other gateway mission, so which needs another 4, so I've only got 1 left now there, but there's 4 metal beams at the garage. As you can see, I can just now start off with 3 metal beams, so it wouldn't be too much. I'll show you a little bit later in the video. I'd have to do like a little extra detour to get the metal beams, but it's just more now when I do the next mission, yeah, there's less messing around, less cutting across trying to like tally up all the supplies from like different warehouses, because I think I've still got a what they're called metal frame building left somewhere on this map, which will have 2 metal beams, but that's what I mean. There's nowhere left anymore where I believe I can get like just 4 outright, or maybe actually maybe one of the warehouses might have unlimited cargo, but yeah, I can't remember that. As for driving with this, you can see now, I appreciate I've already got the cargo and stuff, but I don't know, I've kind of got a feeling either this thing's just quite heavily affected by the whole torque nerf going on, or they've specifically dialed this thing back, because it feels a lot weaker than it used to. It was really struggling quite a few places tonight to even stay in high gear, and normally I believe this has got the KZ GT engine, but just the advanced special in general, and yeah, this was definitely a solid truck back on phase 4, to the point where I think some of us were slightly surprised, like thinking, oh, nerf's probably on its way at some point, but they never really did. Although it does seem they go more over the top on this game, like with snow versus mud. You tend to, you can get patches of mud in this map that are pretty bad. You can see up here though, just quickly, like I cannot get out of first gear. It can barely stay in first. Like it's seriously struggling to crawl now. And yeah, like I said, I know I've got the cargo and everything loaded up, but I have drove along here with various other trucks, even stuff like the Dolphin, the Phoenix. I believe they all powered up this hill, yeah, more convincingly than this was. It just doesn't really feel like you get the advantage of the advanced special gearbox anymore. It's that was one nice thing about that, whether it's in like the Colob, Bruce, this thing, all sorts. It just always had plenty of torque, so even though it was a little bit slower, at least it was like very consistent at climbing through the maps and everything. But yeah, this is feeling a little bit dampened down. So yeah, now I'm on this map. Like I said, I've got to cut right over to that corner. Just going to go the way I normally go, which yeah, it's kind of like cut through the trees in a second. I believe it's like the quickest, best way to go really. Overall, like driving this way, there's not really anything that holds you back too much, so yeah, and it's within reason. It's like one of the straightest lines going to the map in the corner. I don't know anymore how much it's going to benefit me having this gateway open, but it's one of them where I don't really want to leave the gateway missions until like the last 2, because yeah, there's no point by then. So I'd like to get them done sooner rather than later. To be fair, I'm not necessarily saying this is a bad thing, but a lot of this map really has been like building the map up, which I don't think is a bad thing. It's nice that at least the map sort of evolves slightly over the weeks that you're doing the stuff. Phase 5 and stuff, I think even Phase 4 to a degree, there was like a lot of roadblocks on the Northern Aegis map, but yeah, I don't know, like, yeah, this one's kept us quite busy. Overall, at the end, there's not a whole lot of missions that are just missions across the map. Because when I first got this, I've only done a couple of review videos so far. The rest have been like the garage, fixing all the garage up videos, a couple of landslide videos, obviously the exploration videos themselves. Now there's doing the gateways and stuff, so yeah, by the time I get all that done, there's only going to be not that many missions. Although I will say the sawmill missions as well. I was looking through them; they're pretty big missions. Might end up having to do like a two-parter with some of them. God, can't really, unless I edit it pretty heavily. I don't think I'm going to get all that. I don't think I'm going to squeeze it all into one video, because there's quite a lot of little stages, it looks like. So you've got to deliver like a few various supplies, and then once you've done that, it goes on to like the next step. So you can't necessarily plan it out in the quickest order either. You're going to have to do like the first lot first before it'll even offer you the second stage of supplies you've got to drop off and all that. So it might be a little bit of doubling back on yourself and all sorts. But still, they don't look ridiculously long. I think there was some missions on, what was it, Phase 2? The Yukon and everything, yeah. Some of them missions were, I think, like, just hours and hours and hours. Some people said that, well, especially when I had that glitch with the 15 cabins. I think people were spending, like, multiple days getting that completed, so... Again, still not done them. I have to say here, it's on me, but... I keep noticing recently that every now and then my steering seems to, like, seriously grip, and I suddenly swing off to the left or right. I've just noticed it the last week or two that every now and then I keep having like a ridiculously sharp turn that is just, yeah, I'm steering how the truck normally steers, but it seems to violently swing left or right, and I end up hitting something. Which some of the times, most of the time, it's probably because I'm not paying attention, but I remember with that one I actually was. I seen it gonna happen before it happened, and it just did. I don't know what the crack is with that. See, I think, yeah, I'm still in high gear now, but I'm sure this thing used to be an absolute beast. I'm sure when I was driving this in Phase 4, and bearing in mind again, as I was saying earlier, the snow tends to be more severe. Like I said, they do have the equivalent of death mud and all that, but for the most part it doesn't tend to kick in all over the place. Snow on this game, it's rarer that you get a patch of snow that's normal. Most of it seems to be at least super snow. You can see there again, it couldn't even handle it in high, but it's, once you get the stalling icon is one thing, but then you drop it down into auto and just waiting for the power to kick in, it does, it feels like something's been taken away. So we've already got used to like a certain amount of power and all the rest of it, and now it just feels like, yeah, it'd be like playing I don't know, a shooting game, Call of Duty, and suddenly it takes a lot more bullets to kill the same people with the same gun, and you just kind of be like, pretty sure I shot that guy enough. This river section, this might actually, yeah, drop it in high pretty early to try and keep the power going. It stays in high now. Does it end up, yeah, stalling? It's just, there's not enough oomph. I actually think to the point where I've also been driving the Dolphin in that, and I think the Dolphin might actually have the edge on this again. This, I'd say at the minute, the main way or ways that this is handy over the Dolphin is it's harder to tip because it's just like a wider vehicle in general, and it's got the roof rack. But yeah, I used to think this probably gave the Dolphin a pretty good run for its money, like power wise and all the rest of it. I always still preferred the Dolphin because it had the high range gearbox, and I like to drop the hammer a bit. But yeah, now that this thing feels like it's not got a hell of a lot of torque going for it either, and it's in the slow gearbox, and this game's one of those like not quite a chain reaction, but once you start dying, say, in high gear, especially that this is a slower high gear than the high range gearbox, you go into first and then it's pretty slow, and then because you've lost all your momentum, trying to climb back up and get more momentum is like, can be more difficult in the slower gearboxes, just because of the way sometimes it'll happen at some point in this video. Even if I'm clicking L1 and all that, I'm in first gear out of fifth. just won't, something about the game just won't physically let you start going up the auto gears. It'll force you to stay in first, which again on a, say, a shorter ratio gearbox is slower overall. So yeah, not as much my go-to truck as it used to be. Might have to like I say, keep whipping the old Dolphin back out. They just need a roof rack on that by now. It's got the right roof and everything for it. The Dolphin is perfect for being given a roof rack. So it'd be pretty cool if they did like retroactively yeah, add it to more trucks in the game. I can see trucks like the Freightliner and stuff. They've got like the bit of a short, narrow roof, but yeah, stuff like the Dolphin's got like a roof like this basically. It's perfect for it. Pretty sure as well as we are climbing up here. Yeah, he didn't like it. I was nearly going to do this yesterday, by the way. I ended up missing the video yesterday because I was making some dinner. I was cooking a sausage and egg sandwich, and I left the heat on a bit too much for a little while, and I was like, oh, it's getting a bit lively in the frying pan. Just as I looked in the frying pan, the egg or whatever it was, yeah, something popped, and I just so happened to be looking basically where this oil started spitting out the pan, and it hit me right in the eyeball, and it was not like a tiny little speck of oil. It was like a big raindrop of oil, and just as it hit my eye and I closed it, it's kind of like the last image I seen as like a screenshot before I closed my eyes was just because it flew so perfectly at my eye, it didn't move around in my view, so I got this really clear view of like, yeah, this big super boiling hot drop of oil. It hit me in the eye. It must have hit me right in the pupil, and then I closed my eyes and kind of closed my eyelashes and eyelids onto it, which it burnt them a little bit, but not that bad. It could have been a lot worse. In the end, my eye, it felt like I'd been poked in the eye. It didn't really hurt worse than that, I think, thankfully, because I got like eyeball juice and everything, and the drop of oil flying through the air had cooled it down enough to where it definitely was hot when it hit my eye and all the rest of it. I felt my eyelids kind of burn a little bit when I blinked. But yeah, it was like it felt like it burnt it for sort of a few minutes. It wasn't like, thankfully, didn't blister my eyelid or anything. It wasn't that bad, like I said. A few minutes later, I just felt like I'd poked myself in the eye, but because I had like oil in my eye was watering for quite a while, and then when I was sitting here, I was like, oh, it's one of those, like, I'll rest my eye, singular, for once. And yeah, the cargo tipped off because great trailer, so quick reload, try again. Yeah, I was like, oh, I'll rest my eye for a minute because it was watering quite a lot, I assume because it had oil in it. And then yeah, eye became eyes, and then I don't think I actually properly went to sleep, but I kind of came round, was half tired, half felt a bit of I'd kind of seen that I'd drifted off and missed my window to start getting this video, and my phone was flat as well, so I was like, oh, sod it. I knew it was like late enough because it was pretty light outside, but yeah, I was like, sod it, I'm going to bed. My phone, I don't know when the hell it turned on, but I just put it on charge, tried to go to sleep. Didn't really get sleep in the end, which was the annoying part, but yeah, all good today. But I definitely seen a giant drop of oil just fly into my eye. It was pretty slow going through that section. Kind of joined back on the road here. I've ended up editing various bits of this video out because if I left the whole lot in, it'd be over an hour. I don't really think it was one of those videos where I needed to do like a two-part or anything anyway, because it's not really like a crazy video like mission where you got to go here, there, and everywhere and all over the place. I only need 4 metal beams and 2 slabs. It was just the fact that this truck was being fairly slow that it's kind of like, now to leave the footage going all the way back is going to be like another 10 to 15 minutes. And yeah, I ended up getting this video down to about 40 minutes. Could have easily been, yeah, 60, say, 59 or whatever, just because it won't let me do a video over an hour long for whatever reason. At least once you get to this side, you're just on roads at the end. But that's the thing, once I get this gateway unlocked, even like there's a fuel station I just went past, I need to do the mission for that. I can't remember what it is. I don't think it's like a particularly crazy mission. Oh, I think you need to go and find a scout fuel trailer or something. But anyway, now I don't necessarily need to cut right across this map. I'll now have this gateway like just coming up in front of me. I've got to be honest though, Yeah, unless it's like really convenient. I kind of like the original gateway we got to this map. It just seems to work quite well. I found some sort of nice routes that branch off from that gateway, so yeah. But nonetheless, it's another one in the bag. I certainly would rather this gateway than the other one that's, what's it, like the Southwest Gateway or whatever it is. It doesn't seem to... There doesn't seem to be a lot to gain, ironically, except now I need to get these 2 concrete slabs. So I'm going to double back exactly the way I came, join there, like the road just next to the gateway, and then I've got to cut across there to that warehouse, which has got the 2 concrete slabs. Which is the only place where, yeah, the other gateway would be handy to already have. Like I said, I'm going to edit a lot of this out. It's just like, I've turned around, driving back. This was like a little shortcut where I just drove around the slow, like, the snow. I should call it the slow. Yeah, this is like the quick, slightly risky method. At least I've not got cargo at the minute, but I thought I might end up doing a wheelie. My trailer did, so my suspicions were half right. The trailer, I thought it might try and disconnect the loaf, which it ended up doing, by the way, further down. I think I edited it out, but it worked out pretty nice, to be honest. The loaf kind of landed off the truck with its back end in the air, and then, yeah, just winched it straight into the sideboard. Job's a good one. Driving down here, there's a tree with no leaves or anything on it that I was going to try and kill, and then I don't know what happened now. It's like a sharp, violent drift going on to the right, and that tree, some other tree that was minding its own business, which got absolutely nailed. Don't even think it was on the list. It was that one I'm driving past, like, yeah, with no no leaves or anything on. So we'll get them next time. So get to this point, I'm gonna jump the loaf out because I'm gonna need to load up like all 3 spaces of cargo or whatever. In my own head I was like, I'm gonna have to double back on myself, so I'll leave the loaf here for a bit, grab all the fuel off it, try and give this thing... I honestly don't think it'll make any difference if I had a loaf or not. Like, it's hard to work out what's going on in these maps. It definitely feels like the trucks themselves have had a nerf, but then I don't know. When you go and play like the, yeah, when I did the review on the Civilian and stuff, and that new Tiger, stuff just feels like it's got more oomph in the earlier maps, which kind of then means on these maps, it's like a, I don't know, yeah, a map-specific truck nerf, as if it's like what terrain you're on, it just dictates how much like oomph you've even got in the first place before you even get into like how deep the terrain is, what angles you take, all the rest of it, what trailers you're towing. For the most part there's a little path winding along here, so it's not too bad. I scouted here the other well, probably like a week ago. What was I after? Oh yeah, it was when I got unlocked the new Tiger. It didn't have the raised suspension, and it said I haven't unlocked it either. It said I still need to go and find it, and I was like, what? I've already explored like both maps, and I haven't come across it. So I was here the other week, scouting around this area. It's not over here, by the way. It's sort of yeah. Well, I don't want to say it too specifically in case anyone kind of wants to come across it organically, but yeah. Can at least spare you driving around in this snowy section. And I'd much rather well, then again, I was going to say I'd much rather like a normal trailer. This thing doesn't have a saddle low anyway, so I'd be stuck with some fat trailer or this ramped flatbed. But I need the 6 slots of cargo really. Otherwise I would have had to have done 3 trips, and then yeah, this video definitely would have been like nearer 60 minutes. And I don't really know what else you need to go over to this corner for. As I said, at some point I'll have to unlock the other gateway, and I'm going to have to go and deliver a load of stuff up here, which is going to be a bit of a pain. Unless there's, I'll have to check it out, unless there's some better ways around. But it doesn't really look like there is, to be honest. When I went scouting the other day, I was in... well, was it one of the new Tigers? I can't remember if it was a new Tiger, an old Tiger, or that MK38 Civilian. I don't think it was a Civilian, it must have been one of the Tigers. Driving around here, in fact, like now, I'm cutting off up to the left, as you can see, like all this muddy section, there's trees all down, there's a pylon that's fell over. in the Taiga, I went off to the right, following the snowy path, and there's so much like dense forest and all that in the way that you can't really, it doesn't look like you can get over to the warehouse that easily. So I kind of figured, oh, you must be able to drive up through here. But then when you get here, you got that pylon lying like across. If that middle section was cleared, I could just drive through that bit pretty easy. That's obviously the mission there that'll clear the pylon. So it might be worth getting that pylon cleared first. Well, you can see, it's not the end of the world getting around there, but it's a little bit slow. This whole section is yeah, a little bit on the slow crawling side. You can kind of tell now, you can sort of hear it a little bit. It's like, it doesn't sound like I'm revving up to full revs or anything like that. There's not a lot of guts going on, as if like just the area I'm in is already predetermined, like it won't let the truck, like it's imposed extra rev caps and stuff just to make the actual terrain itself, like, say more difficult, but yeah, it's just a little bit more tedious in a way. It doesn't really come off as difficulty, it just comes off like, for God's sake, give me my revs. I paid for the engine. Well, I modded a shitload of money, but same difference. Yeah, you can see now, in the end, at least there's a load of dead trees everywhere. I can just keep flinging winches out. But for the most part, I don't want to fling winches. I like flinging winches out to save yourself from tipping, or if you chose like an extra cheeky little spot to climb over or up or whatever. But yeah, just to compensate for lack of revs is a little bit. I'd rather have a truck that feels like it's eating the terrain for breakfast to a degree. Again, even if it's only going 5 miles an hour, that's cool by me. Like, this is a little bit slow, but you know, if there was a bit more fanfare going on, if the engine actually sounded like it was screaming and going mad, and there was like a bit of turbo whistling and all the rest going on, at least I'd feel like more's happening. Seeing that tree at the back as well, I was like, oh no. I've had it before where a tree's stuck up like that, and then it decided to lock into the trailer like now, and it just locked into my trailer. What map was that on? I think it might have been Amandra, and I was cutting across some awkward beach section with invincible trees and all sort. It was a nightmare, and I believe I had like the saddle high, big fat wide boy trailer or something going on. It was really couldn't have gone much worse. Thankfully, when I was driving up here, there was a road cutting off to the right, so I was looking, thinking, oh crap, if I've got to climb up this entire hill, I'll be here for the next 10 minutes. See, and then the second I officially get onto this road, you could see like my gearbox, I'm clicking L1 now like a madman. I always kind of do, sort of force a habit and muscle memory by now, but the second I got to what is officially the road and not that terrain I was just cutting across, it instantly jumped from like first gear to fourth gear, as if, again, like some behind the scenes coding was like, oh, now we'll let you jump up the gears. But I was still going uphill, I was still going pretty slow. It didn't feel like the truck suddenly was going fast enough to where it should be allowed fourth. It was like it was being cock blocked from being allowed anything above first, just on that whole entire terrain. So there's a couple of different there. I've just seen metal rolls there, might come in handy later. Again though, I looked through the missions. The only thing I didn't look through, actually, sorry, I looked through the contracts. I didn't look through the missions to see how many more metal beams there is to deliver. But there is some kind of building on this map that I believe you can swap metal rolls for metal beams, maybe vice versa. I don't know if you can do it both ways or not. That's what she said. What was it, Wisconsin? I think you could change beams to rolls and rolls to beams, but I believe, if I remember correctly, they were both in different buildings, but you never know. Thing is, you need one of those generator trailers just to get those buildings up and running on this game. As I said, I could have gone to the other warehouse, and I'd need to go there to see what I need to take to make these concrete slabs, but there's loads of ice roads and all sorts between me and that building, and then I'll have to take a generator just to get the thing running, and then I'll have to go and get the supplies, and it's like, in the end, I think it was quicker just to come and grab these slabs. And at least it's a little bit quicker going back this way, because I'm sort of going downhill. But yeah, you can sort of just hear it again. It's like I'm forced to be just over tick over. And back onto this road. So again, I'm going to be doubling back on myself for some of it. I'm just going to not edit all of it out, because I'm going to take a slightly different journey back to where I've got to drop this stuff off to. But just from like here back nearish to where I dropped the Lo4f off, because again, otherwise it's just like another, I don't know, 8 minutes odd of driving very slowly through snow, basically. Yeah, normally I sort of cut through there. I'm going to go up this road, grab the beams from there, and then I'm hoping to cut across there instead of kind of doubling back on myself and going around that way, which is the route I normally take. Yeah, kind of cut across the bottom of that mountain, which I'm going to have to take supplies to do the watchtower thing soon. And then there's like a swampy section I've got to cut through. It's a little bit risky, but I was kind of like, well, we'll see. I need to know sooner or later, so I could keep trying to just take the same routes again and again and again, but if I can, I like to mix it up a little bit, just not only for the sakes of the videos, but just for my own curiosity as well, just to see what trucks are handling what terrain. There's a little glitch going on there. Yeah, that's like the main road if I just took a left kind of thing. Another little rock slide. I don't think you can clear this one either. I've never been able to climb over this. Both times I've been here. Thankfully, fire a winch out and there's an immovable tree that you can just pull yourself over this thing with. But yeah, I remember last time when I came to explore the map, I believe same thing happened, and on one of the live streams. I'm sure it's doable, but yeah, fling a winch out. Problem solved. To be honest, getting the ramped flatbed over those rock slides has been more of a pain in the arse tonight. The one I drove through earlier kind of, I don't know, must have been around the 10-minute mark in this video or something. Yeah, I edited a bit of that out. The ramped flatbed got completely hooked. I was like winching it, reversing, trying to drive flat out and just like wait for the winch to kind of get the tension and bounce the thing out. It was yeah, been a bit of a nightmare. Again, right, that was genuinely again where it was just felt like oversensitive steering. Unless it could be my remote dying. It is definitely on its way out. It's been doing the thing again where it's not letting me press down on the D-pad. Still extending that warranty as far as we can go. Squeezed another 6 odd months out of it at least, so it's worth it. I can't remember, I don't think I needed anything from there. I believe. Oh no, did I? Yeah. I think I just got the slabs actually, I can't remember. Either that or I was being nosy. One of the two. We're coming up to the bit though now where I've got to cut through. Oh no, sorry, it was the it was the metal beams I got, wasn't it? Just yeah, I needed one last set of metal beams. I believe there is still. There might be. Do you know what? Actually, there might be 4 left there. There might have been 5 in there originally. And then now, turning off to the right, this is where I've got to cut through the swamp. If I carried on going straight there, that's where you can eventually loop round to that, like the watchtower thing that we unlock with the mission. Which, at this point, I'm going to get it done maybe in the next day or 2, but it's slightly past the point of needing to now, really. That's the thing with these missions, like doing the garage and then the gateways, the rock slides, this watchtower and stuff. It was hard trying to pick what order to do them in to where, I don't know, they still have a purpose. Like I said, if I left these gateway missions until like the last missions, is sort of pointless unlocking the gateways by then. Thankfully, this swamp, they haven't made it OP ridiculous mode. Ironically, the Zikz was actually driving better through here, and that's what I mean. That's what I keep finding weird with this phase, is trying to pin a truck's performance levels down to like one standard, I don't know, it just, yeah, you're driving it on some parts where it's like, oh, this is alright, this has, you know, got enough power and all the rest of it. I'm happy with how fast I'm going now. I wasn't expecting to fly across here anyway, especially how it's been going tonight, so you can see it's getting a little bit meh now. But then I've got out of the swamp section and I'm back on like a different bit, and yeah, there's just nothing there. You can see I'm stuck in first gear, I believe. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm bound to be mashing L1. It doesn't take too long for me to start doing that, and it just will not have it. Skirt around the edge of that mud patch. And then I'm basically now connecting back. Normally I'd come along that road that was on the right and almost do a U-turn here, and that's the route I've always been doing to cut up to this. Well, I'm going to the gateway at the minute, but there's been a few missions I've had to go up to this corner. One for the watchtower, there's been a couple I needed to get fuel and stuff from the warehouse. There was... what did I have to go? Oh yeah, it was the off-road scout trailer I had to go on. I took the Voron Grad and the Lo4f up to this corner as well. Which maybe you could do this mission like how I brought a Lo4f originally. You'd jump the Lo4f off there and then use that as to like take the off-road scout trailer back. Just quickly saving the footage. I think as well, another thing high on the list, once I've got this gateway done, I might build the bridge pretty soon. There's a bridge that's out and there's like pretty damn deep water either side of it. Absolutely insta-drowns just about anything you're going to drive in there. If I can build that bridge, it definitely helps, I don't know, just, yeah, sort of connect this whole map. You can like do a big loop of it really without too much hassle. Although I do still prefer cutting across this way I've been doing tonight. Going the main roadway, even though it is a main road, and there's like, yeah, there's just some icy patches. I don't know, I've drove along it a few times, I'm just not feeling it. Yeah, I'd rather go this way. Again, no guts. Need me goddamn horse of me. That's what I'm missing. It's just probably adds 10% to your truck stats just by being in the vicinity. But yeah, now it's struggling again. It won't let me go above first, or if it does, oh, it did there. Sorry, yeah. But I've kind of cut her over to the left. I'm not really officially on the path anymore, and that was about the only time it let me get up into second, and then I put it into high. I'm pretty sure now it's gonna start not being happy about it and kick me out, or does it keep going? In fact, that section I was just driving on now wasn't too bad. It's about now where it was being a bit awkward. To be fair, it did stay in high there. Credit where it's due. I made a mistake here. I should have just gone to the right and drove around the long way, but I was eyeballing that hill. I cut up there with a Lo4f. Sadly, for this Zikz anyway, Lo4f is a goddamn horse of a vehicle. This thing was just struggling again. Not only am I driving up this hill, I've got a winch onto the trailer to the tree. I was obviously doing all sorts of different winch points. Yeah, it couldn't handle it, even with the power of, or the lack of power of the winches anymore. Started sliding back down. The trailer tipped, so I quit and reload. Went and got the Voron Grad, which was like at the corner where I dropped the first lot of metal beams off. But as you see now, I'm trying to refuel my Zikz, but it won't bring the refueling up thing until I roll close enough to the Zikz. But when I roll close enough to the Zikz, the physics automatically unlock it and makes the Zikz roll further down the hill, and then the physics will lock it like a foot outside of my refueling range. And then when I jump back to the Zikz, the engine was off, so immediately fire the engine up, but I can't fling a winch out until the engine's fully fired up. And the cargo tipped again. It was a pain in the arse, but in the end I was like, sod it. Just get the bloody dolphin, get a crane. I may as well bring a maintenance trailer with me, because like, it'd be nice to have some supplies over in that corner. But you can see now, I just left that bit in quickly. The dolphin's in high gear. I've got a trailer on, and I've got a crane, which officially makes like the power to weight ratio worse on the trucks. And this thing's ploughing along. You can hear, revs-wise, it's a lot more eager about it. So I'm in the same place, cut along to the left of that road. It let me get in high gear. And this was just to sort of show you how, yeah, trucks have got like a split personality, but it's depending on the terrain. So I was just ploughing along in high, all of a sudden hit this patch, drop down into auto, and you can just see it all the way up here. It's in first gear, it'll jump to second, instantly not have enough guts, do the whole thing where it stops, auto jumps back to first, and just keeps doing that up here. And then it is about now, it does it again, goes back to first, and the entire time now I'm squeezing the throttle. That's flat out throttle, and it completely stopped me. Let off the throttle, blipped it again, still nothing, put it into the low range, and it started crawling. But yeah, that's like a completely different characteristic just on this little section than the dolphin was like driving all the way here. So a lot of faffing around, and then you finally get the bloody cargo on. Impossible to pack. I don't know why, that never even used to be a thing. It's just because the cargo was like sort of at a 90-degree angle compared to the trailer. It's a bit of a waste of time. So yeah, got it all loaded back on. As I said, definitely don't use that hill as a quote-unquote shortcut, because I probably just wasted about half an hour to an hour messing around there between having to load back up, get the dolphin, bring that back, drive that all the way across the map. And now I'm back to square one anyway, where I should have just turned right, not eyeballed the hill. And that's why I just edited that bit out, because it's the same slow snow patch from last time. Probably, yeah, where I was telling you about the frying pan oil flying into my eye. To be fair, that climbs over that little ditch there pretty well. Face plants it quite hard, but then it does actually bump its way up, so credit where it's due. Finally, onto a road where I can actually get 5th gear out of 5. I was saying the other day it's about time they put a 6th gear on the advanced special, but by now I was just happy to be in a gear above, like, yeah, first. I'm surprised this thing couldn't get up that hill either, especially with the winch. I thought that would have given me enough of a boost, but it was having none of it. And it was like, though, when I brought that Voron Grad to like tow me up there, yeah, it was the different mechanics of the game that were dicking me around. Like I said, just to transfer the fuel, it was doing that whole physics auto lock-unlock thing. And then it was turning the engines off when I was switching between them and all sorts. And then if I winched from the Voron to the Zikz, I don't know, it's just like you need to be in like the Zikz really, and then fling a winch out to the Voron Grad. It's just, yeah, the mechanics of the game just don't make rescues like that be common sense anymore. It's always like one mechanic is working against the other, and yeah, it just inevitably went pretty wrong. So the Voron Grad, by the way, was in the car park to the left of me now. That's where I originally took the loaf to get that equipment trailer. And then finally, this is yeah, the gateway I've got to drop it off at. I've got the last of the metal beams, that's now all 4 of them done, and then 2 concrete slabs. Thank God it wasn't 4 concrete slabs. And yeah, money-wise, not ridiculous, not great though. So the XP looks alright, but doesn't really matter because we've all been on level 30 for about the last year and a half. But yeah, you get the gateway, so that's the main thing. I'll just travel through it quickly. Yeah, back to lowlands. I don't know if it's going to become much use to me, but we'll see. So yeah, you end up back here. I should open up the map in a sec. To be fair, I don't really zoom out all the way, but there's like the port at the bottom. Garage is kind of like the mid left of the map. So yeah, that's another one in the bag anyway. At least that's the gateway done. Like I said, next possibly the watchtower thing, we'll see. But yeah, anyway, that's about it for today though. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my Patreon members. Get yourself a loaf because it was a goddamn professional as usual, and I'll be back soon.